the attempt to get out of the trap is the trap. So the attempt to get out of the trap is the trap. So what does that mean? Well, when we have a problem in our life, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to fix it. And that's the trap, because you're literally trying to focus on getting out of the trap, and that causes more of staying in the trap. Because, of course, we know that what we focus on, whatever we persist on, whatever we resist persists. So getting out of that trap is the trap. So what do we have to actually do to change that format so we can actually start to make some major advancements in our life to control our thoughts? Now, the great Andrew Carnegie said in his book, well, actually it was stated by Napoleon Hill, but his statement was amazingly true, and it says, any idea that's held in the mind that's either feared or revered will begin to want to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical forms available. So any idea, anything that you have in your mind, if it's a good thought, a bad thought, if it's loving, if it's fearful, if you focus on that thought, that is what will start to manifest in your life. And, I've said this before, and this is a pretty average statistic, so you may fall into this category, maybe you're an exception, but the top psychologists, from what I've read, say that 70% of the average person's thoughts are negative. That's right, 70%. So 30% is not a good statistic to run your life by. It doesn't give you much room for advancement. You want to at least get to 50-50 so you have a chance to start to progress and get to where you want to be. And that takes practice, practical application. Everybody listening tonight, listen, I'm inspired that you guys are here. Because, it shows that you really want to make a difference, not only in your life, but I'm sure you want to make a difference in the world to make it better for everybody. Because if everybody succeeds, we all succeed. So we always want to root for the people that don't succeed, right? Because when they're succeeding, we're succeeding. Because we are really all connected. Because when your thoughts go out into the ionosphere, which is kind of the outer layer of the atmosphere, as they call it, the ionosphere, that's exactly where everybody's thoughts go to. It's like this big washer machine that's spinning. And that's, as we know, we are electrical beings. So thoughts are made of electricity. They're the highest form of vibration. And when they go out into the ionosphere, they collect with like thoughts. To give you an example, you've probably phoned somebody and they said, oh, I'm so glad you called. I was just thinking about you. I'm sure everybody listening tonight can really say that they've had that happen to them. And that's exactly a true example of our thoughts going out into the ionosphere, collecting, and then end up coming back to us. And it happens in a split second. I mean, it's actually, the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. The thoughts that we have travel far past that speed. So they're like instantaneous. And as we have a multitude of thoughts, that's really what shapes our life. So really the basic format is, controlling your thoughts really takes practice. And you're all here to listen to some applications that I've studied and I preach and I definitely practice in my life. And believe me, everything that I'm stating here, I'm not immune to the problems. I have problems in my life, just much like everyone listening tonight. Nobody's got a peachy keen, easy street life. I mean, that's what keeps us on our toes. It keeps us with the contrast in life. But realistically, note that in life there is a cause, and then there's an effect. So if you really want to lay it down, your thoughts, or my thoughts, everybody's listening, your thoughts are the cause of life, and your results are the effect. Your thought is the cause, your results are the effect. So you can see why it's so very important to focus on and analyze what are you thinking about at any given moment of the day. And remember that, you have a choice on what you think about. I don't care if someone's screaming in your face, you're getting into an argument. You have a choice to react on that, whether it's in a good fashion or a bad fashion. And, of course, as we know, because we're electrical beings, our actual emotions, our subconscious mind, which controls 95% of the body, that actually motors the body. It controls the vibrations of the body. And realistically, I've heard this so many times. I mean, most people on this earth, they're not even the puppeteer, they're the puppets. And if you're a puppet, that means that life's controlling you, and you're not controlling it. So you're just along for the ride. That's what most people actually are. Because, you think about your responsibilities in life. You have to get up. You got to go to work. You got to pay the bills. You have to feed the dog. You got to make dinner. You got to pay attention to your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend. You have a lot of things going on in your life. So when do you have time to actually control your thoughts? You may say, well, I control my thoughts a lot, but really think about what you're saying. It's a practical application that you have to practice. And I say this often to a lot of people. I've been working out my whole life, and I literally go to the gym maybe 4, 5, 6 hours a week now. I used to go about 10 with driving time. And the majority of people that I know, they work out. So I always ask them, how many hours do you put into the gym each week? And I normally get the same response, between 4 and 10 hours, just depending on the individual. And then I always pause the question of, well, how much time do you put into exercising your mind? And most people, they really can't answer me on that, because most people actually don't exercise their mind. The mind has to be exercised. And it doesn't get exercised by thinking about what you're going to do at work, solving problems. That's not an exercise of the mind. Exercising the mind is when you actually go into the silence and you think about what it is how you want your life to be. That's thinking about how to exercise your mind. Now, another way, too, could be learning. You could learn a new language. That really is exercising the mind. You're creating new brain cells, and the brain cells are now firing in that. Every time we think of something new, the brain actually makes new cells, and then we start to fire on those neurons, and we start to create a pattern, and those get built up every time we focus on those. So as you can see, the effect in life is really taken by the cause in our life, and that's all on the mind. And again, when we have a problem, we want to fix it. And again, the attempt to get out of the trap is the trap. So when we want to fix a problem, that's the trap, because you want to fix it right away, because it's causing something that you probably don't like. So they say, you should really never desire something you don't expect in life, and you shouldn't never expect something you don't desire. So really, what are you desiring in your life? When you wake up, do you think about what it is that you're going to attract throughout the course of that day? Do you really analyze your thoughts and say, today's going to be an amazing day? Before my feet hit the floor, when I wake up, I'm saying today's going to be an amazing day. Some people that I know lay there and they start to meditate on how they want their day to go. That's a nice little practical application to do. That's exercising the mind. But most people don't do that, because their rigorous application of life is get out of bed, get some coffee, feed the dog, take a shower, get dressed, go to work. And there's no time. Most people I know say there's no time. Logan, I have no time. I have no time to do anything. Well, you got to make time, because you having no time is just a habit, and you created that possibility of having no time. So, to build a human body out of pure energy with thought is literally the highest form of mastery, because that's where it starts. Everything starts and ends in your mind. Everything. And can you do that? Can you build your effects in life out of your thoughts? Can you do that? Absolutely, because everything starts in the mind. The phone that you're listening to tonight on had to start in someone's mind. It just didn't pop out of thin air. Somebody thought about it. They went to the drawing board. They developed the phone, the buttons, the way it works. It went to the production line. There's always an origin about everything in life. So when you decide that you want to get a new job, or maybe you decide you want to make more money, or maybe you decide you want to get a good relationship, maybe you're looking for your soulmate, or maybe you want to better your relationship you have, it all starts with a thought, and it ends with a thought. So as you can see, it's why it's so powerful to analyze your thoughts and to see exactly where it is that you are on an individual level, because no one can change the tiger's stripes. Only the tiger can change the stripes. That's you. You're the tiger, and you can change your thoughts. You can change your stripes by your thoughts. So if you consider that notion of you being pure energy, and everything starts with a thought, and you're going to build a human body out of that, can you do that? Have you considered doing that? Well, consider you've been doing it now. You've been doing it for the entire length of your life up till now. And you're still doing it. You're going to continue to do it. That's the journey that we're on. And you have to consider the fact of what I call programming, which is, habits. So you have to consider that due to your programming, my programming, We as adults, we have to alter our minds for change. And I stated this on Facebook. I said, we as adults have to alter our minds for change, whereas children, they only have to make up their mind. Because they're not programmed like we are. They don't have years and years and years of history of, I can't do this, I can't do that, I got to do this because this happened and this person did this to me, so I got to react this way. And they don't have those instances in their life. So all they have to do is make up their mind. And that's why, the statistic, I can't quote this statistic because I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can tell you that the statistic is, it'll blow you away. I'll probably get this and post it on Facebook or maybe mention it at the next session, but it was something incredible where at the age of 4 to 6 years old, I think it is, the children they're using nearly 100% of their brain, and a few years after, they go down to as low as 40%. And by the time you hit 40 years old, they're saying that we only use between 1 to 5% of our brain. And that's where they say, we only use 10% of our brain. Well, it's even lower than that because you're running on autopilot for the majority of your life. When you're driving your car to work, you're not driving the car. Your subconscious mind, which you programmed, step on the gas, press the brake, turn the wheel left or right, put on your turn signal, flick somebody off if they cut you off. Those are all pieces of programming. And when you're doing that, you're not thinking. You're just driving the car because you programmed yourself to do that. Much like the air conditioner on your car or the radio button to turn the volume up or down, that's all programming. That was designed by somebody. Well, you are designed by your thoughts. No one did it to you. You can blame anybody you want, but if you take full responsibility of your life, you'll see that you're a product of your own environment based upon the environment that you gave notice to. So the programming is a huge thing. And the only way that you can change that programming is by desire and then by practical application. And that's exercising the mind. You have to control your thoughts. If you don't, you'll never really get anywhere in life that you really want to be. Most people, when they die, it's a formality because they never got to where they really, really wanted to be in life. They just accepted things as they were, didn't know that they could change their environment, and just went about their lives. And when they died, they never really had what they truly deserved in life, which is prosperity and abundance. Difficulty, obstacles, all those things in your life, my life, we all have them, but they indicate that we are either refusing to give out what we no longer need or we're refusing to accept what we require. Those are facts. Look at your life. View your life, question where you're at, and then look and see where your thoughts are at on a single daily basis. If you're seeking true health, if you're unhealthy right now, I can assure you, you've probably been eating terrible, or, you could say there's a genetic disposition in there, but, the great Bruce Lipton, he's a cell biologist, he's proven that if you take a cell and you put it into a different environment, it'll change. Just by putting it in a different environment. So what does that mean on our thought level? Well, if you change your thoughts, you automatically correlate the cells to change the environment that they're in. So you can change your health just by changing the way you think. And the subconscious mind is literally the controller of your body, which you have programmed. So if you're unhealthy, you have to eat good. You got to drink plenty of water to keep everything flushed. It would be a good idea to go to the gym, to exercise, get the blood flowing, get the toxins out. All these things are physical forms that we can do, but really, you don't go to the gym unless you think about going to the gym. You don't eat good unless you think about eating good. So as you can see, it's imperative that we control our thoughts because when that cupcake's sitting there staring you in the face, you have a choice. If you have a chocolate addiction, do I take that cupcake and eat it, or do I say no? Well, willpower comes into play then. So really, we could talk about willpower for hours tonight. I'm not going to get into that too much tonight, but really, willpower is where it's at because nobody lacks desire. Nobody. We all can easily say we want something, we want this, we want that. That's easy to do, but when you actually stack up what you have to do to get that, most people aren't willing to do it. It's not that we fear change, it's that we fear being changed because we don't know what it's like. And that's why most people will stay in a bad relationship. That's why they will stay at a bad job, because they're comfortable. They know exactly what to expect on any given moment, And it's okay. They end up conforming to that. And that becomes okay to them. And I say, to consider the fact it's not okay to be in the situation that you don't want to be in. You got to just put forth the willpower. Desire is easy. That's a cakewalk. It's the willpower that we have to actually run at. So if you're listening tonight and you have anything that's going on in your life that you're unhappy about, well, guess what? The good news is you can fix it. It's going to take some time. I don't know how long. Depends on the severity of it. Could be a small issue. Could be a deep issue. But the good news is you can change that, and it all starts in your mind. It starts in your mind, and it will end in your mind. The body has to correlate to the song that you sing or the words that you speak. So if you have unhealthy issues right now, change the way you think, and then use the willpower to follow through with that. That's it. It's a very simple formula, but most will never do it because their willpower is just not there. So if you want to go to the origin of it, you got to claim more willpower. Focus on your willpower, if that's really what it's going to take. If you have a procrastination issue, which, guess what? I have a procrastination issue. I've embraced it. I've accepted it. And every day I wake up, I work on it. I don't work on the issue. I work on the opposite end of the spectrum. Whenever you have a problem in your life, you don't focus on the problem. Again, that's the trap. Getting out of the trap is a trap. So you want to focus on what it is. Well, I have plenty of time to do whatever I need to do. And I always do it. So, your affirmations are important. We can get into affirmations. I mean, there's so much depth and dynamic to this topic. But we'll stay point on what, controlling your thoughts. So, getting back to that statement again, that, difficulty, disharmony, obstacles, if you have any of these in your life, if you're listening, you have some, right? Nobody's immune to that. But again, I want to state this. It indicates that you're either refusing to give out what you no longer have or need and refusing to accept what you require. So the eye-opener in this is, do you hate misery more than you love happiness? Do you hate disease more than you love health? I mean, do you hate poverty more than you love prosperity, or lack more than you love prosperity? You have to always remember that the things in your life that you gravitate towards will show how much you love them. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Anything you gravitate towards, it will show you how much you love them. So if you hate the things that you don't want more than the things that you love, then what do you think is going to be able to gravitate towards you? Or what are you going to attract? You're going to attract more of the things that you hate. So, hate's a big word, and I would just suggest to everybody listening tonight, get that word out of your vocabulary. Hate is a very strong word. And actually, words are vibrations. They create vibrations, which, again, causes the body to go up or down on the vibrational scale. So if you really hate the things that you don't want, you're going to increase the possibility of them becoming yours, period. That's what's going to happen. So you really got to think about that one. If you focus on what you hate or what you dislike, then that's what's going to be end up coming into flow into your life. It's okay to actually to acknowledge those things. We don't want to just completely push them to the wayside. We want to actually have those come into our mind and, embrace those, the good or bad, and know it's when the bad comes into our life, it's there to give us contrast. I mean, if we had easy street all day long, it would be a very boring life. But because we have things that go wrong in our life, it gives us contrast to appreciate and be grateful for more of the things that we do have that we do like. It gives us that contrast. So I will ask the question that all of you listening tonight, what is it that you truly love in your life? Now, that could mean a multitude of things. But consider, anybody out there, if you have any stress in your life, that's a choice. Giving into stress is a choice. No one's forcing you to be stressed out. Now you can say, I got all these things going on in my life, and but you're focusing on all the obstacles. And when you focus on the obstacles, that's going to lead to stress. Stop focusing on the obstacles. Very easy, simple formula. Well, I can't do it. Wait a minute. Yes, you can do anything you want to do. Focus on the solutions, and that will rid you of the stress. So really, consider, what is it you truly love in your life? I mean, if somebody has a lot of stress, they got to love the stress. You can't have an abundant supply of things if you don't cherish it. So, an abundance of something can only come into your life because of the three things: acknowledgement, acceptance, and practice. Those are the three things that come into your life right now. that's predominantly in your life. If you have something predominant in your life, those are the three things: acceptance, acknowledgement, and practice. So there's an amazing formula that I had read in a book, and I want to share it with you all. And it's pretty amazing, and it's very basic, but it's so true. And the formula goes like this: it goes, the starting point is you as an individual, and you truly equal love. Everybody here listening has a basic default of love. You are made up of 100% pure love. Now there's no denying that our programmed habits have shaded that love to a major degree in some instances. But the core of your being is love. That's why we crave it. So you as an individual, you equal love, and your love equals attention. And that attention equals love, and that love equals you. So that formula is pretty amazing, because you equals love, love equals attention, attention equals love, and love equals you. Because you don't pay attention to, really you can pay attention to anything on the smaller side of it, but something that's predominant in your life, if you're paying attention to it a lot, it has to be because it's predominant in your life. That must mean you love it. And it's really, when I really just first discovered this formula, it was kind of a slap in the face. Because some things in life you just really you really question. You don't want to accept them. Sometimes it's hard to accept things, because logically when they make sense, it's like, man, it really is an eye opener. It really, really is. So consider tonight, your thoughts are creating your life. It is the cause and effect of your life, and you're solely responsible for your entire life. Everything in your life you're responsible for. So the complaining that we do, because we all do it, that's a choice. But when you complain about something, what do you think you're going to attract in your life? You're going to attract more complaining, or you're going to see more complaining, or you're going to have more complaining, or you're going to get more on that complaining level. Because complaining is a vibration. Everything's all vibrations. So you're shifting at any given moment of your life. You're shifting from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. If you're in a good mood, we've all been there. When something amazing happens in your life, if you have something just totally blow you away, you get a raise, or you make a huge bonus, or you fall in love, or something amazing happens, your vibrations they shoot up to the moon, and you're just like untouchable. And that's your true self, by the way, because you equals love. And when you love something, your vibrations just go through the roof. We've all been there. And really, we probably all heard the saying of, bottle that up and use it for later. It's too bad that we can't do that. It's too bad that we can't have this high emotional state of being where we just are so amazing, and to literally bottle that up and take it with you and open it when you need it. It's just too bad we can't do that on a physical level. But we don't need to bottle anything up. All we need to do is to think about what it is that we want, and that's literally like opening up the cap on the bottle and releasing what it is that we truly want in life. The thoughts that we entertain in our minds, they're exactly like a physical seed that's planted in the ground. Now, I've said this before. I love using this analogy because it really is a basic format of how it works from the thought process to the physical process. And much like a farmer plants a seed in the ground to, let's say, grow an apple tree. You got to dig the ground up, throw the seed in there, put the dirt over it, give it water, give it sunlight. That's how the tree ends up growing. Of course, it nurtures and it takes a while, but it grows. Your thoughts are exactly the same way as the physical seed that's planted in the ground, except that nothing has to be planted. All you got to do is think about it. That's all you got to do. And that seed gets planted in your mind. And when that happens, the only way for that seed to grow is you have to water it and you have to give it sunlight. And what are the two ways that you water and you give sunlight to a mental seed? All you got to do is think about it. All you got to do is focus on it, and it will grow. That's it. Think of the time when you maybe had a project at work and it needed to get done, and you worked day and night on that project. That was the only thing. You blocked everything else out. You couldn't go and hang out with your friends. You maybe blew off your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and you've literally just focused on that project at work. and bam, you got it done because you had a deadline you had to meet. That's the purest form sense of planting a seed in your mind and getting it done because you're focusing. It's called hyper-focusing. You're focusing on that seed, and you're allowing it to grow by watering it and giving it sunlight. And that's exactly how it works with your thoughts. And again, the problem is that most people think in a chaotic fashion, which chaotic fashion means, out of the 40 to 60,000 thoughts per day that most of us end up conjuring up, which is on average, which is insanely huge, 70% of them are negative. And that creates chaos. So I want to remind everybody, please put your phones on mute if you're listening, because I have a little background noise out there. If you put your phones on mute, that'd be great. Thank you. So again, consider the notion of the logic that I'm kind of presenting here tonight. And that's controlling your thoughts. Really, do you analyze your thoughts on a day-to-day basis? I actually had the luxury of being able to analyze my thoughts for about a 6-month period, and I was surprised at how negative I did think. Because when you're sitting there expecting things to happen, your habits take over, and you're forcing things not to be that way. But you run into these, you're running into these habits, and it was utterly disgusting how negative my mind was. And I always thought myself to be a positive person. I like to laugh, I like to have a good time, but literally, your thoughts are constant. You have that little voice in the back of your head that just never shuts up. And keep in mind, everybody listening tonight, it's never going to go away, ever. It's always going to sit there. It's talking as I'm talking. Some of the things that I'm presenting to you, you're either agreeing or disagreeing with me, and that's okay. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just asking you to consider what I'm saying. But that little voice in your head will never shut up. It'll always keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. And that's what runs your life. The next time you want to go do something, and that little inner voice in your head says, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if she says no? Or what if he says no? That little voice stops you from progressing in life. And I say, why stop and listen to that little voice? Because that's really controlling your thoughts in a big way. So if we really, we go into the energy source of our bodies because we are electrical beings, and the thoughts that we have, they control that electrical source, the vibrations as I spoke about. And just remember that you are literally, this is a great analogy, everybody, and I'm sure most of you know the law of attraction, which is fascinating to me. It's why I love doing what I do. But you are a magnet. You are a true magnet, and your emotions control that magnet. So the only energy that you can receive, I'll repeat that, this is powerful, the only energy that you can receive is the energy that you give off, period. That's quantum physics. It's proven. It's not just hearsay. I'm not making this up. You can go research it yourself. If you're in a bad, that's why they say, they've said it many years, misery loves company, birds of a feather flock together. Those are completely true. The friends you have in your life, you attracted them. Acquaintances are acquaintances, but true friends, there's something that you have a lot in common with those true friends that are there for you. And the fact that you're here listening tonight means that you want to better your life, means that you're actually starting on that path. And perhaps maybe you've been doing this for years, like I have. But it's never going to stop unless you want it to stop. I'm 40 years old, and I claim to know nothing. I'm 40 years old, and I claim to know nothing. I just have some information that I'm completely fascinated and I'm very passionate about, as you can tell. And I love telling everybody about it because, you know what, I've proven this, a lot of the stuff that I've been working and practicing, I've proven it time and time again that it works. So it's not, for me, this is a believable aspect. It's a believable aspect. And I tell you, we are all magnets. And the fact that you're here listening tonight it's inspiring to me because that means you want to better your life. But this is an everyday application. If you think that you're going to listen to this, this little presentation tonight, and I do this every Monday, and I do life coaching, I do one-on-ones. I'm going to start doing seminars pretty soon. But if you think that you can just go to a seminar once every 3 months or listen to my presentation on Monday nights and then for the rest of the week just go about your daily life, you're kidding yourself. Because, I'm 40 years old and I've been doing this for about 3 years heavy now. And I first was introduced to this back in 2008 and I watched The Secret. Many of you have watched that. Great video. But that's where I got fascinated with it. So I say this to everybody, and I mean this with much conviction. 35 years of my life, I was doing it wrong. Wrong. The wrong way. Because I didn't get what I really wanted in life, everything I deserved, much like all of you listening. You are here to get your life where you want it to be. And, as Werner Erhard said, he says, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You're never going to be happy. I believe that. Because once you get the white car, you want the red car after 3 years. Once you get the house, you want to be a bigger house. Once you make $1 million, you want $2 million. And you're always going to say, once I get that, then I'm going to be happy. It's never going to be enough. That doesn't mean that we should stop trying and be the best person that we are. This life you're going to live right now. What is your passion in life? What drives you in your life? Many of you may have seen the great Alan Watts. He's got an awesome slew of things on YouTube. And he's got one on there. It's about 4 minutes long. And he says, what if money wasn't an object of your life? What is it you would do? Because he says, focusing on money, although it's important, and you deserve to be in a very prosperous and abundant lifestyle, for sure. But if you focus on your passion, the money will come. If you become a master at what it is you do, then you don't have any other time to focus on BS in your life. You don't have time to focus on other people's problems or what it is that you don't like in your life. You're constantly going to be seeking out what your passion is in your life. And you are that magnet. And you will attract the things in life that you're going to focus on the most of. Get out of that 70% of negative thoughts if that's where you're at. It's okay to be there. You need a starting point to move forward anyway. But at least when you become aware that you're at that point, you then have a choice to go in the other direction. And that gets exciting. Remember that your mind can only think or be of one kind at any time. It can't think two different things at one time. You can't think good thoughts and bad thoughts at the same time. It's impossible. You can't do it. You just cannot do it. So what are you thinking about on a day-to-day basis? Are you setting things up for thinking more positive things? Because that's what you're going to attract. What are you expecting in your life? That's another big thing. When you wake up, do you expect to have the things you want in your life? I have two analogies I'm going to throw at you listening. And to me, these are just amazing analogies. The first one, if you're into theology, if you're into the Bible, there was the great Moses. And Moses took the Israelites out of the land of Egypt. And when he did so, he took them out, and they were going to go to the promised land. But before they could go into the promised land, they were out in the wilderness for quite some time, for years. And you think he's in charge of all these people, probably in the millionfold. There was a lot of people. And there came a point when the high priest came to Moses because there was a drought. And he said, the high priest says, Moses, we have a problem. There's a major drought going on. The people are complaining. What are we going to do? So Moses said to the high priest, he says, you go pray to your God for rain. So off the high priest went. After a while, there was no rain. The high priest came back to Moses, and they said, Moses, there still isn't any rain. What are we going to do? These people are really getting, there's nothing, we've got a major problem. What are we going to do? And Moses said to the high priest, he said, well, where are the ditches? And the high priest said, what do you mean, where are the ditches? And Moses said so powerfully, he said, if you would have expected rain, you would have dug the ditches that collect the rainwater. And that's really, the moral of the story is, what are you expecting when you ask for something? If you do pray, are you just asking? And think of it this way. God already knows what you need before you ever ask him. So yeah, it's okay to pray and ask. But when you wake up the next day, and the day after, and the day after that, are you expecting those things to come into your life? Or are you just going along for the ride, expecting things to come at you any which way they can? That's what I mean about controlling your thoughts. If you expect rain to come in your life, which rain could mean money, a better relationship, a better relationship with your boss, a better job, a new job, whatever the case may be, if you're expecting those things to come in your life, then you better be living your life in accordance with that, because the universe is listening to you. And if you contradict what you say you want, then you're not trusting the flow of life. If you're out there bickering and complaining and pissing people off or focusing on people that are doing wrong to you or blaming this or that, whatever the case may be, well then, wake up and change it, because they're not going to change it for you. And most people, honestly, don't give two shits about any of you listening tonight. They don't care about you. They really don't. That's the problem that we have in today's society. People don't care about people. They only care about themselves. And if you really, really want to have some things truly manifest in your life on a level, just become loving. Become the most loving person you can. Be a giver. In order to get, you got to give. So you must persist in the practice of directing your efforts on the things that you want and who you want to become and what you want to do in life. And, and the reason why most listening tonight, guess what? Here's another secret. Most of you listening tonight, it's just not going to happen for you. Now, you could get mad at me for saying that statement. What I'm saying is that your conformity of life, your practice of doing it the wrong way, which I don't know what the wrong way is for you listening. I'm just giving you practical application. But if you're not practicing these things on a day-to-day basis, if you're not reading something, listening to something, watching something, if you're not doing these things, then, how can you put into practical application the things that I'm suggesting that you put into practice? The things that are proven to work through physics, through quantum physics, these are proven things now. This is not just hearsay. So, how do we actually do this? Now that we've presented this information and we know what we got to do to control our thoughts, well, you're going to ask me, well, Logan, what do I got to do to really put this into application? And I say that the most important time of your life should be either in the morning or at night, preferably at night, and it would be minimum of 30 minutes before you go to bed. And that would be to go into the silence and to really think about what it is that you want. And as you actually start to get into the habit of doing this on a daily basis, to me the most important time of the day is right before you go to bed. Because then you start to impress upon the subconscious mind. Remember, the subconscious mind controls 95% of the body. It doesn't care about what is right or wrong. Keep that in mind, folks, that your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your body, does not know right from wrong. It doesn't know right from wrong. It just knows what you tell it. And you've been telling it a lot of stuff for your whole entire life. The beliefs that you have. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I believe in witchcraft. I don't believe in witchcraft. I believe in this. I believe in God. I don't believe in God. I mean, whatever your beliefs are, it's a programmed part of your life. And it doesn't mean, I believe everybody's right in this world. I don't believe anybody's wrong. I think ignorance is the only thing that we actually can serve and say that someone is wrong. But the next time someone's arguing with you, I just say, you're right. Because it doesn't matter. Why? If you're focusing on arguing with somebody, then, it's going to lower your vibrations, which is going to give you up to being a puppet, not a puppeteer. So the 30 minutes per day that I'm suggesting that you do, and that's just minimum, there's nothing compared to the daily life that you go through on a day-to-day basis, which again, remember that everything that you're pretty much doing from start to finish of your day doesn't take any thought. It's already programmed into your body, into your mind. Think about this. I mean, do you think about when you're tying your shoes? Okay, I got to flip this finger over and I got to pull this tight in the string. And do you think about when you're getting dressed? Okay, I'm going to put my leg into my jeans and put my shoes on, and I got to brush this tooth and I got to get in the back of my mouth. And you really don't think about that kind of stuff. You just do it. It's automatic. It's like I said, much like driving your car. It's completely on autopilot. 95% of your life is on autopilot. doesn't give you much chance of surviving to the way you want to survive to. The tune you want to dance to, it's there. You got to put it into practice. So you have to have and establish meaningful habits to replace your old ones. That's what it's about. It's about reprogramming yourself. It takes work. That's why I love what I do. I offer coaching because there's applications. You need to be reminded. Part of the reason why I fail in coaching somebody is because they lie to me or they don't put into things that I suggest into application. If you put the things into application, you're going to succeed. But if you continue to live your life the way you've been living it, and this may not pertain to you, and like I said, I'm not saying I'm right, but consider the notion of how much of your life have you really been paying attention to? And in order to have meaningful habits, not just mundane habits, but meaningful habits, you have to have a purpose. You have to have practical application. Now, I would suggest, first and foremost, not only do you go into the silence for 30 minutes before you go to bed, but before that time frame, you should have a goal in mind. And, what I call a mission statement, and I think it's proper to say that it's an easy thing to remember, a mission statement. Much of you that either have a business or are working for somebody, that company has a mission statement. And that mission statement is important. And do you have a mission statement for your life? Where are you going to be in 10 years from now? Who are you going to be? It's funny because if you were a writer and you had to write a script for a picture company, and they asked you to write a script on your future biography, what would it say? How amazing would the story be? I can tell you that, each and every one of you listening tonight, if you had to write a script on your future biography, let's just say for the next 10 years or 15 years, it's going to be a pretty amazing story. It will be an amazing story. You're probably going to have your ups and downs in that story to make it interesting. But I can promise you, you're going to be a successful person. You're going to be exactly what it is that you want to be in your life. Why wouldn't you be? If you could write the script to your own story of your own life, why would you not have it be the most amazing life possible? And the thing is that when you do that, you're the star of your own movie. But the sad reality is most people are a clouded extra on the set. That's it. I was one of them. I had no purpose. I had no drive in my life. I just was going about it and just never gave thought of maybe if I change my thoughts, I can change my life. I never even knew this stuff existed. But the law of attraction it's a universal law. If you don't want to pay attention to it, if you don't believe it exists, you have every right to believe that. But I'm here to tell you, science proves that it's a universal law. And if it's a law, then don't you think it would be smart to actually start to apply the laws around your life and to start to pay attention to them? Because, if you stick your finger in a light socket, the law of electricity says you're going to get a shock. If you jump off a building, the law of gravity says you're going to hit the ground. Those are universal laws that so far no one's been able to change. And the universal law of attraction, like attracts like. And your thoughts create the person you are. They do. And things in life, they spice us up. They make us more amazing, which creates better vibrations. And, but it's what you're going to, it's not what you do in life, it's what you think about first. So that mission statement that I'm suggesting everybody write, and I'm not saying don't do it tomorrow, do it tonight. It's fresh on your mind. It's very easy. And if you need me to email it to, matter of fact, I'm probably going to post it on Facebook because it's actually by the great Bruce Lee. And I love this mission statement because it's very easy. You can curtail it to whatever you want to do in your life, and you're done with it. It doesn't take really much thought, but you can get real creative. But Bruce Lee, back in 1969, this is his actual mission statement. I'm going to read it. He says, I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting in 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then onward till the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. That was his mission statement. Pretty easy. It's 1, 2, 3. It's 6 lines, 5 lines if you're depending on the paragraph you have on your Microsoft Word document. But mine is 6. But that's it. It has who you are, where you're going to go, what you're going to achieve, and how you're going to achieve to do it. It's very simple. But if you don't have one of those, how do you even know where you're going to go? Remember, everything starts with your thoughts. If you're just going to go along for the ride, then it's anybody's guess at where you're going to be 10, 15 years from now. It's sad. Many people end up in nursing homes. They become lonely, depressed. Then life sucks. Becomes real crappy. Health's the other issue too. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to be a real miserable person. And then when you get unhealthy, you can't help but focus on the pain, the aches. It's sad. The Alzheimer's, the Parkinson's. It's sad. It's a sad life. And much of these things can be prevented just by changing the way your habits are on a day-to-day basis. Because remember, it all starts in the mind and it all ends in the mind. So I ask you, all of you listening, what are you doing each day to get to where you want to be? Have you given any thought to that? Are you being the star in your own movie? Do you even have a movie that's ready to go? Do you know where you're going to go? If you have no idea where you're going to go, I would suggest going into the silence tonight and asking yourself what it is that I truly want to do in my life. And as the great Alan Watts said, he said, do it where money's not an object. You don't need, if you become a master at what you truly want to do in your life, the money will come. I guarantee it. From selling fire hydrants to selling Tupperware to being a top psychologist to being a poet writer. All these people, if you become a master at it, you will end up making a great amount of money in your life. And again, I'm not saying money's everything because it's not, but if you truly can see it in your mind as becoming the greatest master at what you want to do in your life, that's exactly what will end up happening. If you believe it, you got to have faith. You got to believe it's going to happen. So I want you to consider that the information that I'm presenting to you here, it absolutely means nothing. You can just throw it down the toilet if you don't practice it. And you got to make a practical application of it. And it's very simple. Write up a mission statement. Yeah, go type in Google Bruce Lee mission statement, and it'll pop up. And curtail yours around that. Very simple stuff. But I'm telling you right now, to me, in my opinion, it's the most important thing you can do. Because then you have a purpose. You know where you're going to go. And then when you wake up, life's just amazing. It's even more amazing because you're like, this is who I'm going to be. This is who you're going to be. And when you get to that point and you wake up every day and say, I'm going to be this person, then you have something amazing to look forward to. Then when the person bumps into you, you're not going to get mad. Or when someone shortchanges you, you're not going to get mad because it's not going to matter. Because your focus is on what you want in life, who you want to become. And that's really where it starts. I want you also to consider your subconscious mind, which, again, controls 95% of your body. It's part of the universal mind. Or God, if you want to put the theology twist into it. Now, I believe in God 100%. And some of you listening, you don't have to be on the same page as me on that aspect. I'll call it the universe, whatever. But we know there's a higher power out there, something to tap into. And I say that the subconscious mind is part of the universal mind. It's part of it. There's not, however many people are listening tonight, there's not, let's just say 30 minds out there listening. There's not 30, there's 30 minds, but there's just 30 expressions. There's only one mind. One. We all tap into the same source. And then we have different expressions of it. What you see is not what I see. You say tomato, I say tomato. Every language has its own verbiages and customs, but they all have the same meaning, just a different expression. So when I say that the subconscious mind is part of the universal mind, And I said earlier that if you're going to pray, which I think is an amazing thing to do, if God already knows what you need before you ever ask him, then don't you think you just need to really tap into what it is that you really want in life and know that you should be expecting it? Dig in those ditches for the rainwater to come. What are you expecting in your life? If the things that you need are already known before you ever ask, that's pretty powerful. And the universal is the creative principle of the universe. It's forever expanding. As we speak, as we're listening on the phone tonight, the universe continues to expand. It's so vast. So if your subconscious mind is part of the universal mind, and the creative principle of the universe is the universal mind, then part of you must be of the same kind, just a different degree. That means the creative power that you possess is unlimited. I mean, it's amazing. You think about the phone you're listening on. I don't know where you're at right now, what city you're at. Maybe you're on the East Coast, 3,000 miles. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles. Maybe you're 3,000 miles away. Isn't it amazing that you're sitting here listening to me talk, and it's instantaneous. There's no delays in me talking. It's in real time. But 50 years ago, I mean, my parents, they're 67, 66. They didn't have phones like this growing up. It would have been presented as a miracle if you would have said, well, yeah, I'm going to talk to somebody 3,000 miles away on a phone that doesn't require a cord or a cup with a string with two cups. I mean, that's a miracle in itself. I mean, the Wright brothers in 1902 developed the first airplane, and that was a farce back then. They got made fun of. But now here we are traveling. I mean, there's so many, the technology has advanced, and guess what? It all started in the mind. So if you can believe it in your mind, if you can see it in your mind, it can actually take place on the physical plane of this three-dimensional universe we live in. It can actually come about. The only way it won't is if you don't believe it. If you listen to the critics, if you listen to your other half telling you, oh, that's not a good idea, you can't do that, you got to start believing in what you believe in and focus on that. And again, my suggestion to you is to get that mission statement done. And the most practical application of that mission statement is to read it every single day out loud. Yes, I know it seems childish, but as Napoleon Hill in his great book, Think and Grow Rich, that's one of his products in that book is to have a goal or a mission statement. I call it a mission statement, whatever you want to call it, but to read it out loud, not once but twice a day. Once in the morning before your day gets started, and once at night before you go to bed. And as you start to read that mission statement, you will start to think about who it is that you want to become. And then you get creative with it, because if you choose to go into the silence, like I said, I'm suggesting that you do that, because again, you don't think for the majority of the time that you're awake during the day and at night. You have too much going on. You have to purposely go into a room, close the door, and start to think about what it is, how you want to live your life. And then as you start to read this mission statement and you start to dream about it or fantasize about it, or whatever you want to put into context, it will start to grow. Because then you will start to desire those things. And of course, if thoughts are things, then they will start to correlate to that song you're going to sing. And everything is molded by your thoughts. So when they say you reap what you sow, that is mathematically correct on all levels. So when you want something, all you got to do is just simply say you want it. So, do you have a want list? I mean, in my iPad, I have a list of everything that I want in my life, and the list grows. It's fun. It's like a catalog, going shopping, window shopping. But it's not really literally window shopping. I get from everything from a new pair of sneakers to a new place to live, a new car. I mean, forever we're always wanting things that we don't have. And that's what makes us keep growing. And if we're focusing on those, then we don't have room to focus on what we don't have, because you can't think thoughts of different accord at the same time. It just doesn't happen. So if you want something in your life, whatever it is that you're listening to tonight, whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, whoever it is that you want to become, all you got to do is decide you want to have it, decide you're going to do it, and then expect it to come into your life. You don't have to focus on how you're going to get it. That's where the biggest mistake I see of most people that actually say, oh, I want to have this, and then they end up focusing on how much they don't have or how they're going to get there, or all the obstacles. You know, Napoleon Hill said in his book, I see only the objective, only the obstacles must give way. Can't think of two things at one time. If you're focusing on obstacles, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get more obstacles. If you're focusing on the objective, what you want in life, then that's the only thing that you're going to be able to get. Things will start to manifest. Remember, if you're a magnet and you focus on the objective of your life, whatever it is that you want to become, then the more energy you put on it, again, those mental seeds, when you want to water it and give it sunlight, you got to give it focus and attention. When you do that, then the manifestation process continues to grow. It will continue to bring the people, the events, you know, the things that you want in your life. You know, when you pick up a book and you read it and you're like, oh, my God, this came at the exact right time in my life. I can't believe this information is exactly what I needed to hear. That's not coincidence. It's there because you attracted it, because you desired it. That's the law of attraction working at its utmost right there. And that's just on a very basic, simple format. That's when it gets amazing, when you get real creative with it. Because if you're attracting books or maybe a movie or somebody called you, I mean, any of those little things, law of attraction, everybody's experienced those. Everybody listening tonight has experienced those things in life. And most people just leave it right there. That's it. That's as far as they'll go with actually tapping into this power. It's quite sad. As I said, when people die, it's a formality. You know, for me, I'm not going to have it. I mean, I've been doing this, you know, the right way, or what I think I consider the right way for about, 3 years now. I've been doing it the wrong way for the majority of my life. So guess what? I have a lot of practice at doing it the wrong way. And that's what I call my path of least resistance. So when, times are tough or whatever, my default system, my body's so used to doing it the wrong way that it's going to pull me in that direction. Like, just pull Logan that way. And you got to fight. And as you reprogram yourself to think the way you want to think, because again, you're in control of your thoughts. No one else. No one else can control the way you think. You control your thoughts. This phone call is going to end here very shortly in a few minutes, and you're going to be on your own. And I'll be here next week, and as I grow, I'm going to be here representing, for the betterment of society. I do this because I love it. I do it, you know what, the main reason, there's two reasons why I do it. Number one is a selfish reason, because I love making people feel good. That makes me feel good. And the other reason is because when I do this every day, my bad habits don't come into play. I don't have room for it, because I can't focus on those because I'm too busy focusing on this. I'm setting myself up for the life that I want to create because I'm aware of it, number one, and number two, I focus on just that and nothing else. Oh, sure, I get my dealings of bad times. I get my little ups and downs. I get them. I'm not immune to them, everybody listening. I'm not immune to these things, but I know what to do when I get into a rut. I'll surround myself with people that are positive, or I'll make a phone call and talk to somebody. I mean, I get coaching too. I'm not just because I'm a coach doesn't mean I don't get coaching. You need it. I get in the ruts too. But I'm telling you, if you don't have a mission statement, get one. It's easy to do. Bruce Lee mission statement, go Google it. It'll give you at least a template to go by. And then read yours every day. You've got to get in the habit of doing it. I can't sit here and be on your shoulder and say, hey, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, I offer coaching, and I'm here for hire. I think I'm worth it. But I'm saying this to me is the easiest thing you could do. It's very difficult if it's not a habit. And much of you that are listening tonight, you know me. I'm here for you. I give a lot of free information away because I love it. I love doing what I do. And I'm going to make a life out of it. Mark my words. It's not conceit, it's confidence, it's awareness. I know where I'm going to go. And I'm doing what I do. Now, what do you love doing what you do? Are you in the industry? Are you in the job that you're doing because that's your passion? Or are you just in it to make money because the money's good? Because you're going to get tired of it after a while. You got to get into what your passion is. Set yourself up on the platform that's going to give you the highest rate of success. And I say it's going to be as a form of passion. If you like music and it's what you want to be, go be in that. And don't listen to what anybody else tells you. If you want to be a policeman, then go be a policeman. That's what makes you happy. That's your passion. You got to really think about what it is that you're here for. What is your journey? What's your purpose in life? Why are you here? And what are you doing to make a mark in society? What's your gift? Everybody has a gift. You know, my website, 22days.com, you know, I mean, go on there and check out what I have to say in there. I mean, it's filled with a lot of good stuff. It's all positive stuff. You know, but I mean, in there I have tons of books. I have videos. I have new things coming up for nutrition. And, you know, I'm all about mind, body, and spirit. I mean, I walk the walk and I talk the talk. But, you know, I tell you that, you know, it's only good if you go there and check the stuff out and, you know, surround yourself with good people. If you got people in your life that are nagging, get rid of them. You make the decisions in your life. No one has a gun to your head saying that you have to eat bad or be a certain way or be in a bad mood or listen to this person. You can do exactly what you want to do on a day-to-day basis. Everything that you do is a choice, including coming here tonight listening to me, which I'm very appreciative of you being here. I get inspired by everybody listening. I really do. And I can sit here and I can talk for a couple of hours. Everybody can tell I have a lot of passion for this. But this is it. I mean, this is your life. And tomorrow when you wake up, you're not going to hear Logan talking. You're only going to hear that little inner voice. And it's either going to make a change for the way you want your life to live, or it's not. Or it's going to go right back to exactly how you were yesterday or today. Today's over. You can't live in the past. And don't polish and take your past into the future. Every day is a blank sheet of paper. You can write on it whatever the hell you want to write on it. You're the master at your life. Unfortunately, most people, they listen to too many people, and they let them run their life. You know, people ask me sometimes, they ask me for advice. I'm like, why are you asking me? You already know the answer. Go into the silence and ask yourself. You're a powerful human being. That's why I say on my 22days.com, my slogan is, empower the superhero within you, because that is exactly what you are. You are a superhero. Now, I'm not saying you can put a cape on and go fly off a building, but you are a superhero. You have powers that you have no idea exist in your mind. Everything starts in the mind. Everything ends in your mind. Everything.